Now, before we go any further with this review, I want to make it very clear that on the internet, this keyboard has a pretty solid rating of 4.7 out of 5. If you go to the breakdown of the ratings on Amazon, you see 86% have given it 5 stars, 7% 4 stars. Welcome to another episode of DGX-POSED. If you are a DGX fan, you may actually not like this episode because I have some really unfavorable things to say about the DGX670 to put on the devil's advocate hat. There's a way you can critique things, and I have put on the devil's advocate hat as opposed to the cheerleader hat. The Yamaha DGX670, while marketed as a high-end portable keyboard, leaves much to be desired for serious musicians. Despite its features, there are significant issues that prevent it from being a top-tier choice. I mean, like the $4,000, $5,000 keyboards that Yamaha has out there. Do you truly think there's no reason why those keyboards are given a higher price tag? First of all, the action of its GHS keyboard feels lackluster and inconsistent compared to other models in the same price range. The touch response is often uneven, which can be frustrating for pianists accustomed to more responsive keys. This compromises the dynamic range needed for expressive playing. Moreover, while the sound engine boasts a range of samples, the overall tonal quality falls flat in some key areas. The piano voices lack the nuanced richness that discerning players expect. The built-in speakers, those fail to deliver robust and clear audio, often sounding thin and underpowered. Additionally, the user interface is ridiculously complex. Navigating through menus and pages feels cumbersome, detracting from the user experience. The integration of digital features like Bluetooth and recording capabilities could be more intuitive, leaving users to fumble through trial and error. Lastly, the lack of solid versatile connectivity limits its use in studio environments, leaving professionals who rely on various audio outputs dissatisfied. I mean, who makes a keyboard with one audio output if they're really serious, catering to professional musicians? Who releases a keyboard to the market with a measly little headphone jack that doubles as an output to an amplifier without a dedicated left and right? And you want us to consider this as a dedicated keyboard for serious musicians? No. At best, it might just be an accessory keyboard. In summary, the Yamaha DGX670 might serve beginners well, but it fails to justify its cost for serious musicians. Its mediocre key action, underwhelming sound quality, and convoluted user interface make it an unworthy contender in this price bracket. The overall user experience is further hindered by the designer's decision to have all three intros and endings rely on one measly little button instead of dedicated controls, leading to confusion in the performer. Imagine you wanted to do a piece that had two different intros. You have to meander through the menu option and get to the right page before choosing intro 2 as opposed to intro 3. You know how much time is lost? You know what that adds to the poor performer? A lot of angst. Not to mention the endings as well. You got 3 endings, 3 intros, but you have one button for all 3 intros and one button for all 3 endings. That's not sensible. That is one of the pet peeves of this keyboard. In fact, it took a while before realizing that all 3 intros were truly on that keyboard, because they're buried in a menu somewhere that people probably will never get to. I could wager that 70% of users will never use intro 1 and 3 because it's on intro 2 by default and ending 2, but you have additional options. Why not put those in plain sight? Must we get a PhD before we can use a Yamaha keyboard? My goodness. And adding to these drawbacks is the ridiculously silent metronome on USB output. You include a USB output for stereo, thank you, but didn't it occur to you that people will need the metronome when they're in the studio trying to record to a DAW? It's a perplexing decision that makes the 670 unreliable for precise timing in recording and live scenarios. In fact, I just take my headphones off, and that's why you see me with headphones off sometimes, because the metronome isn't coming through. Also, the overly complex fingering options, it leads to unintended changes that require hours of troubleshooting to rectify. Quite annoying to say the least. So ultimately, Yamaha's cost-cutting measures result in a product that, while rich in features on paper, fails to deliver in practice for the professional A-list musician. The lack of essential performance controls and the overly complicated user interface make it a problematic choice for musicians seeking a versatile and intuitive keyboard. Wow. Was that the same guy that said the DGX is like 1/3 the price it should be? What you need to understand, my friends, is as a musician, be a free thinker. Challenge the status quo and play the devil's advocate even on your own music, even on your own instruments. And in that way, it just makes you more well-rounded and more robust because you're accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you're able to put it in perspective, and you're able to decide what to do in face of opposition of your idea. So, with that said, let's listen to a rebuttal. Let's create an archetype. This archetype is going to be a product manager, a product owner from Yamaha to rebut the devil's advocate that I just played. Let's see what there is to be said in defense of the Yamaha DGX670.
While it's true that the Yamaha DGX670 has received its share of criticism, it's essential to recognize the product's strengths and versatility, which many musicians have found invaluable. Regarding the modulation wheel, we acknowledge its utility for certain performance styles. However, the DGX670 compensates with extensive controls and expression features via its pitch bend wheel and assignable live control knobs, providing flexibility and creative opportunities for musicians of all genres. As for the sequencer navigation and measure visualization, we recognize that some users prefer different workflows. Nevertheless, we've designed the DGX670's sequencer to balance simplicity and depth. For those seeking even more precision, the DGX670 integrates seamlessly with external software sequencers, offering a robust recording and editing experience. While the lack of dedicated left and right outputs may be an issue for some users, the single output is designed for simplicity and accommodates a variety of setups. Using a splitter cable allows flexibility, enabling musicians to choose their preferred monitoring approach. The headphone jack at the rear ensures tidy cable management during practice and recording. The white-on-black screen text was chosen to offer high contrast for clear visibility, particularly in bright environments. However, we are actively listening to feedback and continually exploring ways to improve the display's accessibility. Cutting costs to streamline the intro and ending buttons into one allows us to provide this feature-rich instrument at an accessible price point while still delivering high-quality sounds and capabilities. Users can customize their performance styles easily with the built-in style editor. The metronome silence on USB audio out may be a concern for some, but this was designed intentionally to maintain clarity in recordings. The internal metronome remains available for practice, and users can overlay an external metronome for synchronization. Lastly, the DGX670's many fingering options offer versatility for players of all backgrounds. With the right setup, this keyboard provides a highly adaptable playing experience. In conclusion, the Yamaha DGX670 balances affordability, versatility, and performance quality, offering a feature set that caters to many types of musicians. We're proud of the product's ability to inspire creativity and deliver professional-grade features at an accessible price point.
So you do the math. Out of the 326 ratings, you could say 9 people weren't very happy with it. Maybe 15 total gave it between a 1 and a 2. This is not a bad rating, okay? Now, if we go to the breakdown and you take a look at what people have said, 1 star. First, let me say that the keyboard is very nice. However, the weighted keys have a higher than normal resistance, which makes it difficult to play for any length of time, as it fatigues my hands and fingers. I bought it knowing that the ad showed a nearly 30-day return policy, so I would have time to decide if it was right for me. After giving it 6 weeks, I decided I would like to return it, and they said I had to January 31st. So this is obviously a different affair here, right? The action on the piano and the return policy from whatever store was mentioned here. And this says 40% of 100 do not respond on chords while pressing. So that definitely sounds like a problem with the specific keyboard that person has. If you go to the 2 star, for simply playing piano, there are cheaper alternatives. This is a second person saying the keys are too heavy, the sound is unbelievable. This has been returned and replaced by a Kawaii. 3 star, mind-boggling. This is my first foray into music and my first piano. So I'll just say the first encounter with a keyboard should not be with the DGX670. There are too many bells and whistles. The action is definitely for a trained pianist or someone who is aspiring to be. I wouldn't say the action is heavier, but these are, people who are new to music or have just a different opinion from mine. But I wanted to give you some insights into what people are saying. Uneven brightness, piano sound above middle C. This one says, amazing, maybe not. I have to make another correction. I have to revise my review. The problem I've encountered occurs mainly with the ambient piano. Okay, so someone gave an update to a previous review. I don't want to dwell on this because I have more things to say that are not entirely in favor of the DGX670, but I wanted to be fair by giving you at least a high-level overview of what people are saying about this keyboard on Amazon, which is a trusted place to look for reviews, right? So 4.7 out of 5. Now, if we go to Guitar Center and take a look at reviews, we have 95 reviews, and again, a 40.78 out of 96 reviews, which is pretty high for a keyboard of this nature. So if we dig down into those reviews, most liked negative review. First of all, it does have such an amazing value for the features. I'm just unsure what the industrial engineers were thinking when they designed the overall look and feel of the keyboard. Is simply ugly, period. I cannot open my wallet for such an ugly thing. Especially it sometimes needs to live in someone's living room. Well, this is quite subjective. It's a sturdy keyboard, so while I respect other people's views and opinions, it's subjective, right? And the most liked positive review, we won't go into that, but I wanted to take a look at some of the not so favorable reviews. And all in all, there's only one. Everyone outside of the 3 stars gives it 4 and 5. And that is probably because these people tested it out before they bought it, or those who have really poor things to say are not here. Now, with that said, my friends, we're coming to the end of our episode today. Today I played the devil's advocate. I went hard against Yamaha. I hope the product owners listen and truly go through what we have said and just in good faith try to improve the product. There's always room for improvement. If no one says anything, nothing gets better. But right off the bat, I'll just tell you personally my pet peeve: the lack of a mod wheel, the lack of a left and right output at least, not to mention the sequencer. Sequencer is great, but it could be simplified to accommodate a lot more versatility. With that said, we're done for the day. Don't let this discourage you. I still highly recommend the DGX670, because if I was going to do a critique for the other keyboards like the Genos 2, are you kidding? I've got even a more scathing review for those keyboards. You don't want to hear what I have to say about those. It won't be nice. We'll tackle that on a different day. Well, my friends, you take care. Again, check out my affiliate store, azexperiment.com. If you're thinking of picking up a DGX670, go ahead. It's not a bad investment at all. There are ways that you overcome these challenges. Okay, they're not insurmountable. As you saw in the web reviews that I showed you at the beginning, they're not insurmountable. You take care, and bye for now.